Hey guys, so now we're going to talk about tree diagrams. What are tree diagrams? They're the things that your teachers maybe showed you in class that does something like this. Now, some learners struggle with how to draw these tree diagrams, okay? And in this lesson, I'm going to make that very clear. There's an easy process that we can follow. So let's begin. So let's say you go out for dinner one night, okay? Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I go out for dinner, I just do the whole let's get my mains, and then sometimes we do dessert. But I've also been out for dinner with people that are a little bit more fancy, and we have to do starters. And I was a bit confused because, I've just always done the whole let's just do my mains, and then maybe even some dessert. But I've been out with certain people, and I remember the first time, the starter menu came, and I was like, geez, this restaurant doesn't offer much. But I didn't realize that it's a starter. So I don't know where you are, but maybe you've done the whole, maybe you have a family and you guys are very fancy and you do the whole starter, main course, dessert. And when they bring your parents the wine, maybe your parents mix the wine and then they let it air a little bit and they smell it. Well, yeah, my family wasn't like that at all. But I've been out for dinner with people like that and I always just smile and find it all interesting. It's interesting. So, I've been talking too much. So, let me show you how to do this. All you do is the following, okay? Look at how many categories there are. So, there's 1. That's category 1. Category 2. Category 3. Okay, now, I'm going to divide my page into 3 equal parts. Don't do this in an exam. Don't draw these dotted lines that I'm showing you right now. It's not part of the tree diagram, okay? I'm just trying to equally space this. So there we go. Okay, so this part here will be the starters. This part here will be the main, and then this part here would be dessert. Okay, now in the starters, there are 2 options. You can get a soup, or you can order a cheese platter for your starter. So for the starter, I'm going to put 2 branches, like that, and like that. Okay, no, that ain't going to work, Kev, because this diagram is going to get quite big. Okay, I need to make it a little bit smaller. So there, and there, okay? And we could say soup and cheese platter. I'll have a cheese platter to start. Thank you. Soup and cheese platter. There we go. Okay, now we're going to go into category number 2. And in category number 2, it is 3 options. So what we'll do is we're going to make 3 branches, but you're going to attach them onto the ends of each of these. So on this one, you're going to add 3. So let's go there, and there. Okay? And now you have to do the same for this one. There, and there. Awesome. Now we're going to go to let's go fill everything in. Okay, so that's just going to be meat. I'm just going to shorten this. Chicken, vegetarian, meat, chicken, vegetarian. Excellent. Now we're going into the dessert where there are 2 options. So you're going to go make 2 little branches on the end of every single one of these. Okay? So you're going to go there and there. I'm going to make these a little bit shorter. There and there, there and there. Oh, it always runs out of space. Okay. So 2 and then 2. And then 2. You get what I'm trying to do, right? Okay. So, and then that would be ice cream and malva pudding. Ooh, yummy. What do you guys prefer? I like, I'm a bit of both. To be honest, I don't actually have dessert that much nowadays. But if I do have to choose between these 2, I mean, putting them together is pretty nice. But I'm a malva guy, especially in winter when it's cold, and then I don't know, we go over for dinner at my gran and she's made some warm malva pudding. Yeah, it's pretty good. I do enjoy that. Okay, so ice cream and malva. Ice cream and malva. Ice cream and malva. Ice cream, malva. Ice cream and then malva. Ice cream and then malva. Okay, so that should be pretty clear of how we do that. If not, don't worry, we still have another example. I think we have another 2, 3 examples coming up. So by the end of it, you should be pretty good with tree diagrams. Okay, so we've done the tree diagram. Now, we're not done. We need to go put in numbers. So these are very easy. So when you're looking at the starter menu, how many options do you have for the starter menu? You've got 2 options. So the probability that you would choose a soup would be 1 out of 2, and a cheese platter would be 1 out of 2. Now, when you are looking at the mains, well, there's 3 different mains. So there's a 1 in 3 chance that you would choose each of those, And then the same is going to be true here. Oh, there's a lot of writing we're going to have to do now. And then for the desserts, there's a 1 and 2. Because there's 2 desserts. So each of these is going to be 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Okay, now that's a tree diagram. Now the first question says, question B, determine the probability that the person has soup, meat, Malva pudding. Okay, so all that you do now is you're just going to highlight that pathway. So soup, meat, Malva pudding. Excellent. To work out the answer, all I want you to do is take these 3 numbers and multiply them. So remember, when you're going along a tree diagram, multiply. Okay, so you're going to go 1 over 2 multiplied by 1 over 3 multiplied by 1 over 2. Go ahead and chuck that on your calculator. 1 out of 12 is the answer that you would want for that one. 1 out of 12. Okay, so let's get rid of that now. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, and all right, now we're going to do, so we've done question A, we've done question B. Now question C, determine the probability that a person has soup, chicken, and ice cream. Okay, so soup, chicken, and ice cream. All right, so once again, multiply. So that's going to be a half multiplied by a third multiplied by a half. And that's going to give us exactly the same answer as the first one, so that's going to be 1 out of 12. Random story. I just took a 10-minute break from recording now because, I don't know, guys, I've got 2 dogs, okay? I've got a husky. Well, he's called a Malamute. He's like a husky and a German Shepherd combined. And I have a pug. Now, this pug, oh my goodness, she barks, okay? And she barks a lot. So, yeah, I was busy recording now, and then she was in a different part of the house, and she was barking outside the sliding doors, probably at a squirrel or something like that. But yeah, guys, she gives me gray hair sometimes. Like the husky, he's so chilled. He'll only bark like if there's something serious, like he's chasing a squirrel or something. But if she just sees one out the sliding door, she's barking, and gets a bit irritating sometimes. But I love her too. But she's super cute. But she's got so much attitude, Like if you walk down there and you start telling her, "Please stop barking," she just looks at you like if you tell the husky. His name's Harvey. You say, "Hey, Harvey, please stop barking. That's being naughty." And then you can see on his face that he understands. Like, okay, I probably shouldn't be doing that. But the pug, her name's Ella. She's a girl. She just looks at you and she's like, "Are we done now? Are we done with this conversation? Can I move on to better things?" She's that like typical rebellious teenage daughter that I hope I don't have one day. I hope I don't have a rebellious teenage daughter one day. Touch wood. Hope I have a daughter that's easygoing and not going to give me too much hassles and too much drama. But if it happens, it happens. You know, we can never predict these things. Okay, so anyway, so we were on question D. Determine the probability that a person has, now this one's interesting, soup, chicken, and Malva pudding. Look at that. Now, I have explained in a previous lesson that when they link, so here's the first category, or the first scenario, and then here's the second, I forgot something out here. Okay, my bad. So this is meant to say, let's say, that one's soup, let's say cheese platter. Okay, so that's what this one's supposed to say. So that's your second category. Now, when they take 2 categories or 2 things and they link it together using the word or, well, in a previous lessons I told you that when they say or, hope you can remember this, then you plus. If it was and, then we multiply. You might be saying, "Kevin, yeah, but my bro, it says and Malva pudding here." Yeah, but I'm not talking about that and, okay? Because that's one scenario over there. But now, and then this is a second scenario, but they're linking the scenarios using the word or. So we are going to plus them. Okay, so let's get the first one. So the first one is soup, chicken, Malva pudding. So those you're not going to plus, that you're going to go get first. So soup, chicken, and Malva pudding is going to be, let me just highlight the pathway for us. Soup, chicken, Malva pudding. Okay, so that's going to be a half multiplied by a third multiplied by a half. And once again, that's going to give us 1 over 12. Okay, now the next one was cheese, vegetarian, and ice cream. Saying it together just sounds terrible. Imagine eating cheese, vegetarian, and ice cream all at once. Okay, so cheese, vegetarian, and ice cream. Okay, so cheese, vegetarian, ice cream. And that's going to be the same. It's not always going to be the same with tree diagrams. It's just this type of question it is. And that's going to be 1 out of 12. So what we now said is that we are going to take those two answers and we are going to add them together. So that becomes 2 out of 12, which is actually 1 out of 6. Okay, so here's our next one. So you would like to purchase something to eat and drink at your school tuck shop. Ooh, I remember the days when I was at school. Tuck shops were... oh, so nice when I got money from my parents and I could go buy something. I'll be honest, nowadays though I've become very health conscious and but back in high school I didn't really, back in my earlier days of high school I didn't really think about it too much. So I just used to go for everything and I used to love it. Like just reading this makes my mouth water. Hamburger, hot dog, ooh, lovely. Okay, so the first question is, so what you want to know to do your tree diagram, because you could get a tree diagram that has 3 categories like we had over here, but this one actually only has 2, because it's something that you're going to eat and then something that you're going to drink. So we only have 2 categories for this one. So you've got eat and drink. Remember, don't draw these dotted lines in a test. It's just my little thing I'm showing you. Okay, for the eating category, there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you're going to make 1, 2, 3. That's how it works. Kevin, I thought we only make 2 for the first one. No, in the first one, the only reason I used 2 was because there was only 2 things to choose from. Okay. Now in the second category, there is Coke, water, Fanta. So that's 3 things. So at the end of each of those, you're going to go make 3 more. So you're actually going to have a total of 9 that you're going to go make. It's not going to work, is it, guys? Let's go there. The spacing's always a bit tricky. There, and then there, and there. Okay, now, I should say hamburger, hot dog. Oh, this is so funny. Sometimes I live in the Western Cape, and sometimes I like to go watch car racing at a place called Killarney Racetrack. And then where you sit... Under the place where you sit, they have these places that sell hamburgers, hot dogs, and stuff. And I just remember sometimes I go there, and if I want to order a coffee or something, and I can hear the people ordering, and then I don't know. Sometimes the people that work there, they're very Afrikaans, so they're like, yes, can I have a hot dog? I don't know. It just sounds so funny. I like free hot dogs, please. Oh, okay. I need to move on. So, hot dog. Yes, I like 2 Cokes and then 3 hot dogs. Okay. Kev, it was funny the first time, but maybe we should carry on now. So, sandwich. Okay. Now, for each of those, we're going to put the Coke. Coke, water, and a Fanta. Coke, water, and Fanta. Coke, water, and Fanta. Okay, now we're supposed to go put all the probabilities. So if you want to choose your food to eat, there's 3 options here. So there's 1 out of 3 chances that you would choose the hamburger, 1 out of 3 for the hot dog, and then 1 out of 3 for the sandwich. Now, for the Coke, water, Fanta, well, there's 3 of those, so there's a 1 out of 3 chance for each of those. It's not always going to be the same number. You'll see in the next example that we have coming up. We have some interesting examples coming up. This one has marbles, but this next one is even more important because there's going to be something where you don't replace the marble after you pick it out of the bag. You'll see it's going to get quite interesting, so stick around for that one. 1 out of 3, 1 out of 3, 1 out of 3. Okay, so then we've drawn the tree diagram. Excellent. Okay, so it says determine the probability that you choose a hamburger and a water. Okay, so if you go hamburger and then a water, so then you just multiply the numbers. So it's a third for the hamburger and then a third for the water, and that'll give us 1 out of 9. So 1 out of 9. Okay, determine the probability that you choose a sandwich and a Coke. So a sandwich, and then a Coke. And so that would be also 1 out of 3 multiplied by 1 out of 3, which is 1 out of 9. Okay, now things are going to start getting a bit more interesting in terms of the numbers are going to be different. So there are 12 marbles in a bag. Okay, so you've got 3 green, 7 blue, and 2 red. Now some learners, they're like, okay, so we've got 3 green, so let's go draw 3 arrows. And then there's 7. No, guys, that's not the way it works. You need to see how many different things are happening. For example, in the first thing, there was a starter, main, dessert. That's 3 categories, okay? In the next question, we had 2 different categories. In this one, these are not the categories. The categories are, here, you will pick one, okay? Replace it, and then you'll pick another one. So there's 2 things happening. You're picking one, and then you're picking another one. So we only have 2 categories here. What am I doing? Oh, divided in half. There's half. Cool. Okay, so now you don't have to go say green, 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 blue, 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 blue. No, you'd be drawing forever. All you do is just go do the 3 different things. So you could do a green, you could do a blue, or you could do red. But I should be putting it a bit closer. There, there, and there. Okay, so that would be green. I'm just going to put G for green, B for blue, and R for red. Now, here's where the numbers come in. So out of the 12 marbles, what is the chance that you would pick a green? Well, that would be 3 out of 12. This one would be 7 out of 12. And this one would be 2 out of 12. Okay? Now, it says you will pick one, and then you'll replace it, and then you'll go do all of that again. So I'm just going to go do all of that again now. So onto this one, I'm going to add 3 more. So there, there, and there. Onto this one, I'm going to add 3 more. And then onto this one, I'm going to add 3 more. There we go. You could have, if you really wanted to, you could have said green, green, green. Blue, 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 up to 7, and then you could have done reds. You can do it that way, but trust me, it ain't gonna look pretty. It's not gonna be nice. Okay, so there we go. So that's gonna be green again, blue again, red again. Green, blue, red, green, blue, red. Okay, now in this example, it says you will pick one, then you will replace it. What that means is you will put it back into the bag. So let's say we have a situation where you have a bag which has 3 green, 7 blue, and 2 red. Okay? Now, if you take 1 green out, let's say you take a green out, okay? But then you put it back, you replace it, you put it back. So can we agree that you're still going to have 12 marbles in the bag, and the number of greens are still going to be the same, because you are going to put it back. You're not keeping it out. You're not taking one of the marbles and then taking another one. You're taking a marble, putting it back, and then taking another one out. Okay? So you are replacing it. So these numbers here are not going to change. There's still going to be 3 out of 12 for the green. There's still going to be 7 out of 12 for blue. And there's still going to be 2 out of 12 for red. That does not change. In the next example, however, that's where things start to get a bit more interesting. Okay, this one is 7 out of 12, 2 out of 12, 3 out of 12, 7 out of 12, and 2 out of 12. Okay, first question. Well, we've done the tree diagram, done. Second question, or B. Determine the probability that you choose 2 green marbles. Okay, so green marbles would be this way, because I want to choose a green, so I go that way. And then I go this way, because I want to choose a green. If you went any other way, you wouldn't be getting 2 greens. Okay, so I just multiply them. So that'll be 3 out of 12 for this part, and then for the next part, 3 out of 12. So you multiply. Go ahead, chuck that on the calculator, and 1 out of 16 after it simplifies. Okay, so that's the answer for this one. This question, determine the probability that you choose at least 1 red marble. Now you need to understand what this means. At least 1 red marble. That means you could choose 1 red marble, but that also means you can choose 2. It says at least. At least. It doesn't mean only 1, it means 1 or more. So now this is important. We're about to learn something new here. So the way that you could get a red marble is you could go this way, because that will give you a green and a red. So that's a good way you could go. You could go blue and then a red. Blue and then a red. You could go red and then a green. You could go red and then a blue, or you could go red and a red. So all of those are going to work. They didn't say it has to be both of them red. They just said at least one of them must be red. So this would be a green and a red. This one here would be a blue and a red. This would be a red and then a green. This would be a red and then a blue. And this would be a red and a red. So remember, this is important. We're about to learn something very new here. We said that when you want to find the answer for this branch, you multiply. That's still going to be correct. So for this branch, you're going to multiply like that. 3 out of 12 multiplied by 2 out of 12. And that'll simplify to 1 out of 24. Then you're going to do the same with this one over here. 7 out of 12 multiplied by 2 out of 12. And that'll be 7 out of 72. And then you're going to do, okay, now we're going to have to do a few. So this one is going to be, so we're going to do the red-green branch now. Red-green, which is 2 out of 12 multiplied by 3 out of 12. And that'll be 1 out of 24. And then we're going to be doing 2 out of 12 multiplied by 7 out of 12. And that's going to be 7 out of 72. And then we're going to be doing 2 out of 12 multiplied by 2 out of 12. And that'll be 1 out of 36. Now, with these ones, these answers that we have found, where are the answers that we found? Here, 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 and here. This one was part of an earlier question. My bad. That shouldn't be there. That was part of a different one. All you do with these answers is you don't multiply them. Now you will go and you will add them. This is how tree diagrams are always going to work. So you're now just going to go say 1 out of 24 plus 7 out of 72 plus 1 out of 24 plus 7 out of 72 plus 1 out of 36. Go ahead, type that all on the calculator, and we should get 11 out of 36. Last example. Well done for making it this far. This one's going to be quite interesting because we're going to say without replacing. Okay, there are 12 marbles. So the beginning part looks the same. Okay, so that's going to all be the same. We can go draw our tree diagram, but the numbers on the tree diagram, they're going to be different over here. So be careful there. Okay, so we've got two things happening. We're going to pick the marble once, and then we're going to pick the marble again. So we've got green. Let's rather do it there. Green, blue, red. Then at the end of each of those, we could do the same thing. So green, blue, red. Green, blue, red. Green, blue, and red. Okay, so this one is going to be 3 out of 12 for green, blue 7 out of 12, and red 2 out of 12. Now, pause. Listen carefully. This is now important. They said you will pick one without replacing it. So what that means is you're going to take it out and you're not going to put it back. So you have to be very specific about which of these pathways we are now talking about. So let's start with this one. So if you go with that one, then what did the person do? They picked a green. Okay, so then if you think about this, there was originally 3 greens, 7 blues, and 2 reds. If they go this way, then they've already taken a green. So how many greens are there? Only 2. And how many marbles are there now? If you add that up, there's only 11. So to be able to pick another green one, you're going to have a 2 out of 11 chance. To pick a blue, now you've got to be careful. Because you went this way, it means that you haven't touched the blues yet. So there's still going to be 7 blues. Okay? So you say 7 out of 11. And you haven't touched the red, so that'll still be 2 out of 11. Okay, that's quite challenging to understand that. I know students struggle with that at first, so you might just want to pause, think about that, rewind, watch that a few times until it makes sense. Now, we finished there. Now, if we want to go this way, so if we go this way, it means that we've chosen a blue for the first one. So if you chose a blue for the first one, so we originally have 3 green, 7 blue, 2 red. If you chose a blue for your first one, then there's 6 blues left over. So there is 11 marbles in total. So for this top branch over here, which is your green, remember that's your green, blue, red, green, blue, red. So to get a green, well, there's still going to be 3. Yeah, but Kevin, I thought we already chose a green. No. That's only if the person went that way first. That's only if they chose a green for their first one. But now we're pretending that the person chose a blue for their first one. So we're going to say 3 out of 11. For the blue, you're going to say 6 out of 11. And for the red, you're going to say 2 out of 11. Okay? Capiche? Let's do the last part now. So now we're going down this way, where this person chose a red for the first one. So they originally had 3 green, 7 blue, and 2 red. Now, if you've chosen a red, then there's only 1 left, and you're still going to have 11 marbles left over now. Okay? So, for the green, there's still going to be 3. So you're going to put 3 out of 11. For the blue, there's still going to be 7. But now for the red, there's only going to be 1. Awesome, hey? So now what we can do, well, that's our tree diagram done. So now we can go on to the questions. First one, determine the probability that you will choose 2 green. Okay, well, the pathway of 2 green is this way and this way. So now you can just multiply them. So that's going to be 3 out of 12 multiplied by 2 out of 11. And that'll be 1 out of 22. 1 out of 22. Okay, now this next one, determine the probability that you choose. It's meant to say you choose that you choose a blue and then a red. It's not saying red and then a blue. It says specifically a blue and then a red. So it must be in that order. So it's blue and then a red. There we go. And so we'll say 7 out of 12 multiplied by 2 out of 11. And that'll be 7 out of 66 as our answer for that one. 7 out of 66.